So hi girls.
Hello.
So, hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Our first question would be that I saw that your name is HALÁSZ Anna, but also you use it as Fischer.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if it's any reason for translation or it's just easier for you this way.
Yeah, so there are several reasons. One of them is Anna Fischer obviously is a more, international name, so it's more understandable all over around the world. But the origin is actually that my family is Jewish. And before we assimilated into Hungarian culture, we used to have the name Fischer, and then we, made it a little bit more Hungarian to translate it. So that's kind of the origin story of it. And for me, my Jewish heritage is quite very important. So that's how it's kind of like a tribute to that. And also I like the sound of it and the syllables of it. So that's one.
It works in every way.
Yeah. Well, apparently, I hope. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the work that you will do in the L1 event now in April. Could you talk a bit about the title and the content?
Yeah, for sure. So it's going to be on April 14th in Bakelit Multi-Art Center. And this is going to be an interactive installation. So the name of it in English is Interwoven Connect. And so there is a reason why it's a two-titled name, right? So there is Interwoven, which is talks a little bit about how we people are interwoven with each other, how we are intertwined, and how we, as communities create like some kind of threads or some kind of weaves together. And then Connect with an explanation point. It's a little bit of hint, that you're gonna have to do something in this project. So what's gonna happen actually is that so this is an interactive project. So you're gonna have to be part of the creating process of the end product in a way. So how it's going to look, it's a little bit hard to explain without visual aids. But what's going to happen is there are going to be several structures that are from pieces. And then you can, as a participant, add more pieces into this structure, which is going to create a light painting on the surface behind in the end. So how we, how we are going to connect these pieces differently, it's going to give us a different, surface at the end. So that's kind of what's going to happen. But I'm sure it's going to be very apparent when we are all there. So you're going to see it. But so this is like the physical part of the project, and the more conceptual part is obviously it's about connection and how we connect to each other, how we connect to ourselves, how we represent ourselves in a community or a group. Do we connect in following the norms, or do we do it in an unconventional way? And so it's a little bit about thinking about these topics and these questions together, and then having an experience together. So what I would like to give is not just only an aesthetic experience that you go there, and you see it and then you think something, but also, being part of this creating process and being part of doing something together and interacting with each other and connecting with each other while we do it. So that's kind of the main idea. It's gonna happen.
Nice. Sounds exciting.
Yes. I'm just thinking of a question to ask right now, because it's very interesting to me that I find that a lot of artists somehow feel that the way they do the art is the interesting part. So they would like to share that. I don't know if you have anything to say about this, because this I find very interesting, but I can't formulate a question yet out of it.
I think I understand what you mean. But for me, it's obviously there are two parts, right? So there is one part is the conceptual part, like why do I want to think about this project? Why do I think it's important? How do I, kind of open this up to a broader sense? How do I go around it? What's important in this? What's interesting? What's not? What can be interesting for others also, not just me? But the creating process, actually, for me, it's very interesting because I'm not I'm a multimedia artist, right? So I use a lot of things. Like I actually say to myself, I'm a handcraft person, right? So I use any medium that I need to do with any project. So it's more emphasis on not the how, you know, so if I'm painting, like, or if I'm using graphic design, or if I'm using textile, or I'm using, you know, ceramics or clay or whatever, or sculpture or whatever technique. So I think for me, it's a little bit like that, you know, that the concept is going to then decide what kind of technique do I need for that project to visualize itself. I'm not sure if that was your question, but that's kind of what I think. What it was that you asked?
No, my question was not ready, but it was a good answer to an unready question. Thank you. Okay, so the other question that we thought of is how is nervousness for you before an exhibition? How do you prepare right?
Well, I think I'm generally a very nervous person. You know, usually I have a lot of anxiety about a lot of things. It really depends on what part of my life am I in, or, you know, like I have these ups and downs, obviously, as anybody else. But especially exhibition, it's a nervous wreck, right? So what do I do to make that less? Well, what I've been trying to do mostly this year is not to procrastinate, right? Because I think maybe it's just for me, but for me as an artist, I really was a procrastinator back in the days. And what I try to do now is to do everything at least like a couple of days or a week or a couple of weeks beforehand. And it's, you know, supposed to be ready, right? And then I have a little bit of ease of mind. And also I try to, especially with these kind of installations that are a little bit more tricky, you know, and they really depend on the space that I'm bringing it. So I always try to go there beforehand and try it out, like how does it work? And so I still have time to change things or figure out things if I need to. So that's kind of what I do. But for the nerves itself, I don't know. I mean, at some point you just need to let it go and, you know, go with it. Because it's not really gonna go away. I mean, you can meditate and, you know, do yoga or whatever, but I think it's just you need to, you know, get over that point.
But for example, when is it the strongest? Maybe that's what would be interesting to me, because I think for us, when we go on stage, of course, like there is the before you do that, and for you it's a bit different, I assume. Because you have to make it finished until then, and then kind of it's not in your arms anymore. How do you say that?
Yeah.
So that would be interesting.
Well, it depends how is the exhibition. So if it's interactive, obviously I have to be there and kind of guide it, right? Sometimes, I mean, there are some projects that they work on their own. And this project, I actually did it once before and it ran on its own. So I did an info board and, you know, people need to figure out what they do. But for me, yeah, how is it? Yeah, the moment I think I see that it's on there and it works, and then I don't have to touch it anymore, I think that's when I'm at ease already. But with this one, especially because obviously I'm going to be there to guide it a little bit, I think it's going to be just before I need to talk about it a little bit there with you guys too. I think I'm going to be very nervous there, but I don't know. I mean, we have to see what's going to happen. But yeah. So I think, yeah, you're right. It's a little bit different, I think, from this kind of stage fright that you guys would have. But it's not that different, I think, maybe for me, especially with this project.
Yeah. In this situation, it's very similar. You're also performing.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's not like a performance because I plan to do that also, but that's going to be a totally different ball of game. But I never done that, so I can really relate to you guys. I think it would be so hard for me to, just go out there on my own. But yeah.
Cool. Zsófia?
Sorry, now I got inspired again for a new question.
All right.
If you feel like to each process you use a different kind of I hear you use different materials or different techniques, but if you feel like you are your different personality of yourself when you dig into one project, or how to say? Or it's always similar, just you open it even more to different directions. Yeah, how is it?
I'm not sure if I understand the question, but it's, yeah, you're kind of right in a way that it's a different part of me, and of course, you know, it's in different ball games, right? So I think we all have this kind of separate images of ourselves, or what do we do, but I think there is no relation for me with the mediums, so with the techniques. So it's not really about that. Obviously, you know, I do these techniques because I love them. So it's not, there are some that I'm much more skilled at than others, but obviously I'm going to educate myself if I need to. So I think for me, it doesn't have to do really with the concept of the project, if that was your question. It's really more about the concept comes first, and then the technique that I'm, you know, like I have a visual in my head, and then I figure out like what kind of I pair. But
so the starting point is the same kind of. I think Zsófia was questioning this, if like a different part of you wants to deal with this material, or was it that Zsófia?
I see. You know, like it's possible. It's quite possible. Yeah, it's possible that there is a switch over there. I don't know, because the thing is that all of these techniques, they work with my hands. So in a way, you know, for me, it's all within my hands, and it's not. I really don't like this kind of way that we are supposed to be, you know, like one material artist. And I think, you know, art should be general, and it should be, you know, kind of like this, you know, this very, I don't know how to say it, like a very indisciplinary way of doing it. So that's why I think it's not separate for me, but I'm sure, you know, for other artists, maybe it is a different part within themselves. But for me, it's all from my hands, and it's all from my brain, and so it's kind of all connected in that. But yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I never thought about this before. So it's interesting.
Thank you for answering. I think this was a very nice closing sentence.
I also thought. I also was thinking about it.
Me too. Me too. So I'm looking forward to see you guys and see your work as well in April. And so thank you very much for the question.
Yes, thank you. And your work is in the 14th of April.
Yes, exactly. Can't wait to see you there.
Everybody come and watch.
Exactly. And participate, right? So.
Sorry, exactly.
All right. See you guys. Bye.
See you. Bye.